Hey guys, so I promised that I would do a book review for The Heir by Kiera Cass, and I haven't gotten around to doing it yet, so I figured that I should probably get on with it. This won't be a spoil-free review because there's no way that I can really talk about The Heir, as it is the fourth book in the series, without spoiling it. And those of you who have read it understand where I'm coming from. This video will be comprised of 3 sections, the first section being completely spoil-free, no spoilers for any of the books. The second section will spoil the first 3 books, and the third section will spoil the latest book. I will let you know when these sections are coming up so that you can go away if you haven't read up to that point. So for those of you who don't know, The Heir is the 4th book in the Selection series. The first 3 are the Selection, the Elite, and the One, but I don't have those with me as I don't own those. The Heir is the only one that I own. Also, if you don't know what the Selection series is about, the Selection Book 1 is set in the futuristic world where the United States is now a monarchy and goes by the name Elia. When the prince comes of age to be wed, they hold this thing called the Selection, which is a lot like The Bachelor. And girls from the ages of 16 to 21 can put in their names to be selected, and if they are selected, they get to go and live in the castle while they attempt to woo the prince. 30 girls are selected total. Also, Elia was built in a caste system. Caste systems define just about everything. They tell you where you can work, what types of clothes you can wear, who you can hang out with. The higher up you are in the caste system, so like 1, 2, 3, you're better off. But if you're lower down in the caste system, like an 8, and an 8 is the lowest you can be, the more you are in poverty. You can only move up if you marry or buy your way into it. If you're born into an 8, chances are you will be an 8 for all of your life, and there is no way that you will get out of it. So our main protagonist, America, is lower down on the caste system. She's a 5. 5s comprise a lot of the entertainers, artists, musicians. They are very poor, so America, who doesn't want to participate in the selection at all, puts her name in to support her family, because the families of the selected receive benefits while their family members are away at the castle trying to woo the prince. They are really quick reads for the most part. I flew through them, reading one just about every day or so, which is the quickest that I've ever read a book, so that's a plus for the series. Also, fun fact, while Kiera Cass was writing book 1, she was living in the town that I was born in, and she is currently living in the town where one of my family members used to live. So that is all that I can tell you for part 1. If you're interested in this, if this sounds like the type of thing that you would want to read, I will leave all 4 Goodreads links down below. Check them out, which is spoiler section for the first 3 books. So if you haven't read those yet, I would suggest you leave unless you really want to be spoiled. If you haven't read the 4th book yet, which is The Heir, then stick around because I will be talking about this baby really shortly. The one thing that I didn't like about the Selection series was how predictable it was for the most part. Like, you know what's going to happen just by reading the synopsis. I don't really like books like that. And you know she's going to win, because if she doesn't win, then what's the point in even writing the series? But despite that, it was still a really fun read, and I did really enjoy it. America was really annoying sometimes. She couldn't choose. She couldn't make up her mind to choose Aspen or to choose Maxon. You knew who she was going to end up with just by reading the synopsis, but she still couldn't choose, and that drove me crazy. I wanted her to just get it over with and choose Maxon. But no, for all first 3 books, it just dragged on and on. But the way that America and Aspen were sneaking around once Aspen became a soldier, I was so sure they were going to end up getting caught. They did get caught. I also don't like how it was 3 books. I think that if it couldn't have fit into 1, it could have fit into 2. I understand that the titling aspect and the money aspect, and I really like how Kiera named the books. You know, having the 1 be for the purpose of, you know, choosing the 1 and then becoming the 1, and then the Elite being the top 10, and then the Selection being the beginning of the selection process until we get to the Elite. It just seemed really crazy to spread that out into 3 books, but I totally understand the reasons why she would choose to do it that way. The Elite just dragged on. That was the quickest one that I read, probably because it was also the shortest. But it just seems crazy to me how Kiara managed to drag out the elite with only 10 people left and eliminating only so many people. So Maxon was blonde? I must have skipped over that detail when I was reading the first 3 books, because I caught that in the air, but I couldn't change the way that I saw Maxon. Did anyone else have this problem? Because I would really like some reassurance that I am not alone in this assumption. Alright, so that is the end of part 2, and the end of the not spoilery section for the Heir. If you haven't read book 4, the Heir, I suggest you go and leave now because I don't want to spoil you. Alright, so part 3, the Heir. I was really surprised when I got this book and read the book flap because I hadn't read the synopsis before, and I thought that it was just going to be a continuance of the selection series, not kind of like its own series. I really wanted to see what happened to America and Maxon after they married, and while America was coming to terms with being queen and how they were coping with that. I'd really like to have that bridge filled in somehow if she releases an ebook of it. That would be really cool to have one of those short story ebooks come out of that gap there, filling it in. I'm sure that they came across some difficult patches, and I'd really like to know about them. So seeing America and Maxon as parents was really kind of different. I loved every scene that they were in, and I loved seeing this new side of them, except I kind of had a hard time picturing it at times, and I think it was because I was so used to America being the main character and America being the little girl who was still falling in love with Maxon and having to decide to choose Maxon. That took a while. But anyways, Edelyn was really snobby at first, and I did not like her, except I didn't put this down because I figured she would get better, and I was right. I was really pleased with where she was by the end of the book. There is not a lot of characters in literature that have grown as much as Edelyn in just one book. I think she just had to loosen up a bit, and I understand why she would be snobby. She'd grown up isolated in a palace that was really well off and had her own tiaras and fancy dresses and a really nice maid. It's not like she grew up like America in a poor family and a lower caste. She didn't have that experience. All she had was riches and jewels. She had also taught herself that she had to isolate herself, and it was easy for her to teach herself that because she was already so isolated. So she just had to kind of close off that door and not let anybody in. She wasn't used to other people being in the palace that weren't royalty or that weren't family or friends. And so she reacted how she thought best. But the boys really loosened her up. So, about the boys. I really like a lot of the boys. I really like Kyle, except I know that he wants to get out of the palace, and that could cause some problems in their relationship because Edelyn has a country to run and kind of has to stick around. But, you know, maybe she could run the country from other places in the palace. I'm sure it could be done, and if that is who she ends up with, I really wouldn't complain. But then there's also Henry, and I really hope that they remain friends even after the selection. I don't think she's going to choose him. I know that she really likes him, but I think she sees him more as a friend. And there's the language barrier, too. It would take a long time for her to learn his language and become really good at it. And until then, I don't know what they would do. It would take longer than this selection. But then there's Eric, who is Henry's interpreter, and I really like Eric. I think Eric brings out a really good side in her. He's quiet and comforting, and he's so afraid to overstep his bounds, and she's afraid to overstep her bounds. But Eric is not part of the competition, and wouldn't it be wrong to choose someone who wasn't part of the competition? But she never wanted the competition to happen in the first place. Wouldn't it be interesting if she ended up with someone who came there because of the competition but not as part of the competition? But really for me, I think that it's mostly tied between Kyle and Eric, because I really like Eric and the emotional stability that he provides for Edelyn, but I can also see that Kyle and Edelyn have quite a spark, and I wonder if that could grow into something more. So I don't know how this is going to turn out, honestly, Normally I have some sort of clue how it's going to come out, but this time I have no idea. And normally I hate it when there are multiple relationship possibilities that could come out of a book, except I'm really enjoying this. I didn't get that so much with the selection because I knew what was going to happen, but I'm really enjoying this aspect. This kind of twist, not knowing who she's going to choose, that she has to consider multiple boys. And that's a lot different than knowing that America was only going to end up with one. And the ending. We had a massive cliffhanger at the ending, and I was so upset. No, America cannot have a heart attack. That is not okay. She is not going to die. She better not die. If America dies, I am going to be so mad. You can't just sort of end one series that had this main character and then kill them off in the next. Well, okay, yeah, you can, and yeah, you most likely will, except that doesn't make it okay. I just really hope that America doesn't die. I hope she gets better, because don't you think that Adolin could really use her mom around once she becomes queen? She's still young. She thinks she knows what she's doing, but she really doesn't know. She could run the country effectively, but basically as a soldier. The emotional support and guidance that her mother could bring would really help her become a better and more rounded queen. So please, America, don't die. But I am really excited for the next book to come out. I don't know when it is coming out yet. I need to check on that. It's probably on her website. If you want to check out her website, she has a bunch of cool stuff there. It is www.kiaracast.com. I will leave a link for that in the down bar as well. But that wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and comment below your thoughts on the selection series. Did you like Adolin? Did she annoy you at first? Was America a bit annoying with how indecisive she was? I just want to know your thoughts, so feel free to tell me. I plan on uploading a bonus video in the middle of the week as well, so look forward to that. I love you all, and I will see you then. Bye-bye! This is definitely a spoilery review. That's hard to say. This is definitely a spoilery review because This is definitely a spoilery review because I can't really talk about it very much. I don't want to. The TARDIS is landing. That's my ringtone. It was a text finally coming through. For those of you who don't know, the fourth book, that's what